Guys. Last we left off, Michael and Austin and Taylor were at a party and they had just gotten to the party, so we're going to keep reading and see what happens. The food table was in the middle of a luxurious dining room where lit wall insets held porcelain statues spaced evenly between large original oil paintings, mostly of fruit bowls. In the center of the food-laden table was a large tub of ice, packed with bottled water and cans of soda. Drew walked up to me. "Hey, it's little Chuck Norris. Give me some," he said, raising his hand. "Hey, Drew," I said. I set down the cup and we high-fived, clasping hands as we did. He fell to one knee, pretending I had him in some kind of kung fu grip. "Don't hurt me, man," he laughed. "Don't hurt me." I chuckled nervously. "Hey, congrats on the game. You guys played really well." "We dodged a bullet, man. Cooper is their best free throw shooter, and he tossed 2 bricks in the last 3 seconds. We were lucky." Living alone with Mom, I had never engaged in small talk about sports, so I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. "Well, you know what they say about being lucky." Drew looked stumped. "No, what do they say?" "It's better to be lucky than good." He looked at me for a moment, then laughed. "You're all right, little dude." "Hi," Austin said. "Hey, what's up, Houston?" "Nothing," Austin said, trying to sound cool. "Just hanging." I love how Austin just responds to the name Houston now, like he doesn't even try to correct them. "Houston, we have a problem," Drew said, then burst out laughing at himself. Just then, a mountain of flesh named Corky walked up behind Drew. Corky was the size of a small planet, and he had an entourage of girls who moved around him like satellites. I knew who Corky was only because he was always being called up on stage at the school assemblies for winning some award or another. The last thing he won was the state heavyweight wrestling championship. He took Drew in a chokehold, then released him. "Drew Meister, what gives?" "Just hanging around the oasis with my little black belt friend." Corky looked me over. My head barely came to his chest. "This isn't the guy you were talking about." "He's the man," Drew said, "little Chuck Norris." "He's a shrimp." "Only on the outside," Drew said. "On the inside, he's a powder keg of pain, just waiting to explode on someone." Corky laughed. "You're pulling my leg, aren't you? I could crush him like a bug." "I'd like to see that," said Drew. "Battle of the Titans." Corky pointed a massive finger at me. "You're talking about this little guy?" Drew put his arm around me. "This is exactly who I'm talking about." He looked at me incredulously. "Come on, little guy," he said, gesturing for me to follow him. "Let's go outside and spar a little. I want to see what you got." Drew laughed. "He'll mess you up, dude. I'm not kidding." "I've got to see this," one of the girls said. "I really can't. I've got to get Taylor a drink," I said. "She won't die of thirst," Corky said. "Come on. I won't hurt you. We're just playing around." Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute. They're really putting Michael in a bad position because he can't have all of these people knowing he has powers. And now everyone's heard about what he did to the bullies. And so now they're pressuring him to do it again. And I'm wondering if he'll give in to the peer pressure. Let's see. Just then, Taylor walked up. "Hi, guys. Hi, Cork." She looked around. "What's going on?" "Corky wants to engage the little dude in hand-to-hand," Drew said. "Called him out." Taylor looked at me, then back at Drew. "What?" Austin translated. "He heard about Michael's fight with Jack, and he wants to see what Michael can do." "Black belt or not, I'm going to crush him," Corky said. Taylor glanced over at me with a look that said, "How do you get yourself into these things?" Then, to my surprise, she said, "Awesome, let's do it." She looked around, then shouted, "Everyone outside, Michael's going to take down Corky." I couldn't believe what she was saying. As we walked out amid the river of bodies, I whispered, "Are you trying to get me killed?" "Trust me." "That you want to get me killed?" "No, I'm trying to get you out of this mess." The house emptied as everyone poured out of the house into my backyard. Corky started cracking his knuckles. Austin grabbed my shoulder. "Dude, you know you can't use your power." "I know." "He's going to kill you." "I know." Taylor walked to the front of the crowd as if she were the master of ceremonies. "Okay, so here's the deal. First one knocked to the ground loses. Fair enough?" "Fair enough," Corky said, bobbing a little. "Taylor," I said. She reached into her pocket, "and here's a $20 bill that says Michael's going to put Corky on his back. Any takers?" Everyone looked at each other, but to my surprise, no one was willing to bet against her. I mean, the guy could wad me up like a piece of paper and shoot me out of a straw. Taylor looked at Corky. Come on, Corky, you're going to crush him, right? Where's your money? He looked at her hesitantly. I don't have my wallet. Okay, so I'm wondering if Taylor's going to use her powers somehow to get Michael out of the situation. I don't know how she would do that, though, because there's a whole group of people there. Can she mind wipe like a bunch of people at once? I guess we'll find out. In fact, let's make this sweeter. The loser has to wear my skirt to school on Monday. I looked at her. Now I was sure she was trying to get back at me for shocking Tim at the game. All day, she continued, and he has to carry the others' books and tie his shoes. To my surprise, Corky was suddenly looking very nervous. Come on, Corky, Taylor said. He's half your size. On the other hand, there's only one of you. The last time I saw him, he had 3 guys on their backs begging for mercy. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Taylor turned back to face the crowd who had formed a half circle around them. Who wants to see Corky wearing my skirt on Monday? A large cheer went up. I noticed that Corky was sweating. Hey, I was just kidding around. I don't want to hurt the little guy. Cool? Oh, I see what she's doing. She's psyching him out. I breathed out a sigh of relief. Cool. Just then, Drew stepped in. He said in his best pirate. Them be fightin' words, matey. Words y'all be regrettin'. Lil Norris be so tough he can kick the backside of your face. Everyone laughed, which started a barrage of Chuck Norris jokes. Little Norris is so tough when he does push-ups, he doesn't push himself up, he pushes the earth down. Little Norris is so tough he can lead a horse to water and make it drink. Spider-Man owns a pair of Little Norris pajamas. Little Norris is so tough he can make onions cry. What's the matter, Corky? Someone shouted. Chicken? Then someone started a chant. Vey, vey, vey. Now Corky couldn't back out. He'd never live it down. There was no way around it. We were going to spar. It was a classic David and Goliath scenario, except I couldn't use my slingshot. I was going to get killed. Taylor sidled up to me. That didn't go the way I thought it would. Really? I said. It's not so bad. How is this not so bad? Well, no one expects you to beat him. So if you lose, you'll look brave for fighting a monster. And if you somehow win, you'll be a legend. I feel much better now, I said sarcastically. She looked at Corky, then back at me. Wait, I've got another idea. I can't wait to hear it. When I say go, run into him as hard as you can and try to knock him down. Are you kidding me? He's a freaking brick wall. Trust me. I did. Trust me again. Let's go, Corky shouted impatiently. Let's get this going. All right, Taylor said, stepping away from me. When I say go, come out fighting. Ready? Corky's eyes narrowed into small slits as he leaned forward on the balls of his feet, squaring off the way he did before a wrestling match. After the razzing Taylor gave him, I don't think he was going to hold back. Get set. His fist balled up. I swallowed and tried not to look overly terrified, just a little terrified. I was certain he could smell my fear. Don't panic, I told myself. Go. I took off running at him, feeling like a pitched baseball about to be smacked out of the park, shouting like a madman. I slammed into him with everything I had, my face buried into his very solid abs. To my amazement, he stumbled backward and fell, crashing to the ground in an azalea bush. Yeah, shouted Drew, running to Corky. I told you, man, Little Norris rules. I lifted myself up. Corky was still on his back, covered in white flower petals and looking dazed. Drew pointed his finger in Corky's face. I warned you, don't mess with the Little Norris. The kid's got sweet moves. The truth is, I was more surprised than anyone, including Corky. I put my hand out to lift him up, which he fortunately ignored, since I'd need a car jack to lift him. He slowly climbed to his feet, wiping off his backside. Good job, kid. Taylor walked up to him. I'm not letting you wear my skirt, she said. You'll stretch it. But it looks like you'll be carrying Michael's books. I waved it off. No, I said, we were just messing around. He could have crushed me like a bug. Thanks for taking it easy on me. Corky, still confused about what had happened, looked at me and nodded. Hey, no problem. I don't know where you learned that junk, but you're pretty good. Drew put his arm around me. He's the man. You gotta start hanging out with us, Little Norris. The crowd gathered around me. A pretty girl with long black curly hair walked up to me. I knew her from math class, but she had never acknowledged my existence. Hi, Michael. I'm Chantel. That was so cool, she said. Her brown eyes locked on mine. Thanks. What school do you go to? Meridian. I'm in your math class. Really? I've never seen you. I sit right behind you. Oh, she said, blushing a little. Lucky me. Taylor grabbed my arm. Come on, Michael. We'll catch up later. I said to her. She smiled and waved. See you in math. Everyone was giving me high fives and patting me on the back as Taylor dragged me off. Why do I have to go? I asked. So you don't get a big head, Taylor said. Where are we going? Where no one will hear us. Come on, Austin. You got my name right, he said. We went back inside. Austin grabbed another brownie from the table, and the three of us went upstairs to a bedroom. Inside, Taylor locked the door behind us. Where'd you learn that move? Austin asked. That was awesome. You took down Gorilla Man without your powers. It wasn't me, I said. I looked at Taylor. Was it? She sat down on the bed. It was sort of you. You did knock him down. Austin's eyes darted back and forth between us. What did she do? The same thing she did to Mr. Polson. She rebooted him, didn't you? What? Austin said. I looked at Taylor. Can I tell him? She rolled her eyes. You just did. Well, you showed him first. What are you talking about? Austin said, looking back and forth between us. Taylor has powers like mine, I said. Austin's jaw dropped. She can shock like you? Not exactly. She can shock people's brains. What? She can reboot people. I didn't have to explain reboot to Austin. He was all about computers. Ah, he said, a large smile crossing his face, like pressing the reset button. I get it. That's why Polson looked like he'd been sucker punched. I just thought he had a brain tumor or something. Then how did you knock Corky over? I didn't. Michael did. I just rebooted him a second before Michael crashed into him. He didn't even know where he was. That's awesome, Austin said. No, it's not, I said. She shouldn't be using her powers in public like that. Someone will figure it out. I know, she looked down, covering her eyes with her hands. I need to confess something, she looked up at me. But first you need to promise me that you won't get mad, okay? I feel bad enough about it. What did you do? I asked. Promise me. All right, I promise. I won the basketball game for us. At least I might have. What do you mean? I rebooted that guy as he was shooting his free throws. That's why he missed so badly. That's just wrong, Austin said. I looked at her in disbelief. After what you said to me in the game, what happened to not using your powers in public? I know, I just didn't want to lose. I'm such a hypocrite. I ruined that guy's life. Austin started pacing. People, we need to keep this under control. That's why we need the club to set standards. His mouth spread in a broad smile, and I have a name for our club. The Electro Clan. What's an Electro Clan? I asked. It's just a name, Austin said. The electro part is self-evident. A clan is a group of people who all have the same. I like it, Taylor said before he finished. It's catchy. I told you he was good at this, I said. I could tell by his crooked smile that Austin was feeling pretty good about himself. First, Taylor had remembered his name. Now she liked the name he'd come up with for the club. Now we need bylaws and a mission statement. What kind of bylaws? Taylor asked. Like, for instance, who we can tell about our powers, Austin said, as if he has powers. Which would be no one, I said. And when we can use our powers, Austin said. That's easy for you, Taylor said. You don't have powers. Yes, I do. Advanced intellectual powers. They're not electric. You're wrong. Technically, all thinking is electric. The brain consists of about 100 billion cells, most of which are neurons, and whose primary job is shooting electrical impulses down an axon. And, all right, I said, we get it. So I'm just as powerful as, he suddenly looked down, then over at me. What was I saying? I looked at Taylor and she grinned. Austin turned red. You rebooted me, didn't you? Well, you're just so powerful. All right, we're going to have to stop there for today. I've been reading a bit too long. I'll see you next time on The Adventures of Michael Bay.